big of a difference, as Zerg players may be able to capitalize on that inside base, but Terran players may not be able to. As Ruff says, this is one of the ugliest maps ever.
And Stark had sort of bemoaning the fact that in the last game when he did go out to drop, 3 medevacs ran right into the army of Ruff, so he wasn't able to do any pressure. I'll let you intro the players on the map that you haven't cast.
Alright, so this is GSL Calm before the storm. Murder spawning as the purple Terran on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Ruff spawning as the blue Terran on the bottom left-hand side of the map. There is one center Zelnaga tower. I'm curious to see what the sight range is on that. You can see that the natural expansion, I guess, is in the counterclockwise direction. Meanwhile, the close expansion is a full mineral patch with 2 Vespene geysers. So, very interesting.
Yeah, like I said earlier, well, actually, yeah, I guess I might be wrong about that with the full expansion. So it'll be interesting to see whether either of these players really take advantage of that and get to 3 bases. Oftentimes, like we said, we see really high-tech, low unit count, not really big macro games. So we'll see whether these come into play.
Yeah, I mean, this screams a macro map to me. There is a ramp at your natural expansion. Siege tanks up on the high ground can pretty much cover half of it, so units trying to charge in are gonna get shelled very easily. I could see a player going into Siege Tank, Viking, perhaps a 1-1-1 into a triple expand, utilizing Vikings to control the air to minimize damage from Banshees and drops, and then using the Siege Tanks to make sure that units don't simply walk up the front door, and then just enjoying the benefits of 3 bases.
Yeah, I think drop's definitely going to be the big strategy here. Just looking at the map, oh, we do have a proxy racks by Ruff, sort of outside of his base. Not well, he's still in good position to put some pressure on Murder. So Murder's sort of getting it back after proxy racksing in the first game himself.
Okay, so I like the positioning on this. Ruff scouted out his opponent, saw that his opponent wasn't in the bottom right-hand side, so okay, I know for a fact that you're in the north. I'll just put a proxy racks in the north and then figure it out from there. So Ruff getting perhaps try to go for that proxy Marauder rush that Murder tried to go for in game 1, but Murder is going to be in a very good position if he can get up a lot of Marines. The problem is going to be that he's just going to go for Marines and, go for a Reactor Hellion opening. So this is a proxy barracks, proxy factory, Reactor Hellion opening on GSL Calm before the storm. I have no idea what to expect.
Do you expect that maybe Murder will make a bunker here? I mean, I know he's going to come out with constant Marines, but I wonder if he'll play sort of defensive.
I think he has to. Murder has an SCV on the inside of the base. He sees an orbital command. He's like, okay, he has a barracks. He has gas. He has to have these Marauders or maybe even a factory. What the heck is going on?
Yes, I think he's going to be pretty safe here. He's going to have the bunker. He's going to have a Marine or 2. The factory just now finishing. The reactor is finished as well, so yeah, Ruff's going to have his reactor Hellions here, and looks like a starport as well. So Ruff decides, I don't need to make my production my base. I'll just make it somewhere on the map. You don't know what it is, and you're going to have to prepare for any build.
All right, and what's interesting about this is Ruff is building a reactor on the barracks, so it's not going to be Banshees. It's going to be Hellions, Marines, and then perhaps a medevac. So the Hellions are going to be able to deal a lot of damage. The medevacs will then be able to heal the Marines, as there are 2 Marines inside a bunker on the front door, and it is going to push back those Hellions.
Well, he could just drop Marines and Hellions right into the base of Murder, and against a drop, bunker's not doing a very good job, as they are static defense. But if your opponent goes for big macro play like Murder's doing, then I think looks like we're going to just use the barracks for some high ground sites.
Okay, so the barracks are going to be used for high ground sites after building 2 reactors. We're now going into reactored Vikings with Hellions, putting pressure on the front door. And now he doesn't care that there's a bunker on the front door, because I can attack at the other side. So all of these Marines are going to have a very, very bad time, as well, as they can't really handle the Hellions with that splash damage. And you can see that the Hellions dealing a lot of splash damage there. And there's also a Viking in the air, so the Viking can go into ground mode. And the Viking also has a range of 6 as well, outranging Marines.
Yeah, so these Marines are having a really tough time, like you said, and there's just a ton of Hellions out. 5 right now. They're doing the best to try to focus down the supply depot. We'll see, yep, down go 2 SCVs, so this supply depot will fall soon. We do have a Marauder out for Murder, so that's going to do pretty decently against those Hellions. They don't do a ton of damage against the Marauders, but just so many Hellions right now, and he's going to have to retreat to his bunker, hopefully defend there, but now Ruff lifting off this barracks, he's going to place it on the high ground, in fact. Actually, he thinks better of that, and he's just going to use it to use some high ground sight with that barracks still, and just doing a ton of damage with these Hellions.
All right, so apparently Ruff's Vikings love to be in that little ground mode. You rarely ever see it unless a lot of Colossi are dead in a Protoss versus Terran. It looked like a poor SCV actually got the wrong side of a Hellion flame attack there. As Murder now in a bit of trouble. Murder knows that he cannot lift off this barracks. If he does, the problem will be that Hellions can run straight in. Marines just dancing back and forth. And Murder does have a Harvester advantage, 34 to 23 off of 2 bases. And what's going to happen next as additional bunkers being established and now more Vikings going into ground mode.
Yeah, and Murder's sort of pulling back here. He's making a number of bunkers. He's going to try to defend up into his base, and it looks like Ruff going to try to take on that one bunker. SCV is being pulled to try to repair it, but that bunker will go down. And now Ruff knocking on the front door, and it's not a very happy knock as he's coming with all these Vikings, as you mentioned, in sort of ground mode. And then the Hellions just picking off whatever they can. Another supply depot goes down for Murder, and he might actually get this Rax, but there are a number of Rax behind that, so Murder's production not going to be too hurt. At some point he's going to have to take a moment here and clean this up, and I think once he does, he's definitely going to be in the firm lead in this game.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here. Murder now deciding to lift off with the barracks again. Going to land. We are going into reactor starport. We are double training up Vikings now. The barracks is about to burn for Ruff, as it looks like Ruff is just going to simply walk by the main attack force and perhaps try to hit the mineral line. The Hellions now going after the Marines, and Vikings going after the ground units as well. Who's going to come out on top? Murder needs to unload the bunkers. Marines are not making their way over in time at all, as the Vikings are able to deal a lot of damage. More Hellions coming in as well, as the Vikings are able to push back, and now the SCVs perhaps need to engage.
Oh, and these medevacs definitely going to help. The Vikings actually might want to lift off and start taking off those medevacs. With these low numbers of Hellions and Vikings, the medevac's going to be huge. Constantly healing these units, and now Ruff is in trouble as his attack there didn't do everything it was supposed to. He did take down 12 workers, so quite a few there, but Murder does have a big advantage, 36, 37 to 25. He's about to land, I believe what will be his third, perhaps? Actually, he's just going to make his third, and back at home, Ruff just now starting a second. All of his production is right outside of the base of Murder, so if Murder gets a decent little force, he can actually go and hunt that down. Ruff, I'm not sure, doesn't even have a barracks back at home. That was destroyed as he was using it for high ground sight, so can't really produce much in the way of production, and Murder's going to have a decent timing here where his units doesn't have, or his opponent doesn't have any units.
All right, Vikings are now going to land over here at the natural or the in-ground expansion. And now the Vikings are going to be able to perhaps take down a couple medevacs as the Marines now make their way over. The Marines using their stim, able to run faster than a Viking can fly. Terran ingenuity for you as the Vikings are now going to regroup.
And so Ruff has a medevac on the way to his base, and all he has is SCVs and mules there. So I feel like this medevac for Murder is going to do a ton of damage. Ruff actually might have to just abandon his base and try to run across the map with his SCVs, save as many as possible, but Murder at that point just can focus down supply depots or orbital commands or these barracks which are about to be created. So this is going to be a pretty big moment for Murder.
Yeah, Murder now coming in, has a whole bunch of Marines and Marauders, gonna take out that command center very, very easily. You can see a couple units back over here were destroyed as Ruff now attempts to lift off the command center and somehow save it. It looks like the command center will get down to 500 hit points. It may start burning in just a moment. There it goes. At 1/3 of its life has been taken out, but now the medevacs of medevacs now dropping Hellions and Vikings going into ground mode. So this is now turning into an all-out war here at the natural expansions.
Yeah, Murder still does have a big advantage in food, but a lot of that is those workers, 43 to 33. So double drops going on here for both Murder and Ruff. Murder really needs to be active with his drop in the base of Ruff. He did a nice job cleaning that up, that drop up in his own natural or in his second base there. So right now he's got double the food. He's now making his way into the main base of Ruff with this drop, and Ruff doing his best to fend it off with just SCVs, but Murder's drop here definitely going to be pretty successful in damaging his Terran opponent.
Yep, Murder now once again coming back in with Marines and Marauders. The SCVs having to heal through the medevac right there. SCVs constantly, it looks like it will be able to get another Marine, perhaps. No, not going to be able to, as Ruff is going to be able, or Ruff is going to be forced to GG here. There you go. And Murder once again taking King of the Hill back away from Ruff.
Yeah, that's a